Uh, well, we probably introduce ourselves. I'm Jacob, and we're here with my co-host.
Hi, it's Jesus.
Yeah, Edwin isn't joining us today because he off doing other stuff. We have no idea really, to be honest, but he okay. Did an episode on Let Ugly Anime because you know about other show like Knows No Sports and Yang will Ensue. Today is a special episode since we have went over convention in general, but we never went over a Pacific convention. And this one occurs about the one anime convention that recently passed, Anime Expo, or also known as AX. So I went this year, but Jesus went in the past, so ideally he have an idea how it is, if I'm correct.
Yes, you are.
So you've been once, you said, right? Or you've been a couple of times?
I've been there once.
No, so it probably had changed since you went to. I barely started going 3 years ago. So the main thing is basically go over what went on, and to more likely I probably gonna be doing a lot of talking that I'll let you guys know since I was fortunate enough to go this year. So
I'm gonna have questions.
You probably don't.
I'm gonna have questions,
Yeah.
so I will be talking.
Oh yeah, I would have mentioned that. He don't have a lot of questions and make me really think about a lot of answers, unfortunately. So to start off, Anime Expo is one of the main anime convention in North America. It takes place at the LA Convention Center here in downtown LA. So congrats this year. They brought over 100,000 people this year. So congrats for that. Their new record. So they get onto some couple stuff. Jesus, you have any interesting question you want to open up with?
One of my first questions always is, like you said, there's 100,000 people there. So how were lines for events or for like food and things like that?
How were the lines? So the lines weren't too bad, I'm gonna be honest. At most, I wait an hour and a half before a panel, which from what I know is about the average starting time to wait for a big panel. Food wise, I only ate a couple times downtown, and when I did, I went to a sport bar because I had a feeling it would be a little less empty, so I took advantage of that. But longest line I probably waited for the Monster Musume panel, which I waited about an hour and 45 minutes. And then I found out they were giving out giant free backpack bags. The giant bag you wear like a backpack. So found that out after I was in line. I was fortunate to get one. But line-wise, it wasn't too bad. It was crowded though, to be honest. But overall, I didn't have a bad time. I had a great time.
Oh, that's not so bad then, because honestly, like I've gone to AX, I've gone to Fanime, and to SAC Anime now. So, I mean, for some of the panels, even at SAC Anime, I've had to wait over an hour for just to make sure that I got a good seat. And so, I mean, for an hour and 45 minutes at AX, that's like 10 times bigger than SAC Anime. That's pretty good.
I have a question. Going to another panel before your panel count as waiting.
I mean, I guess. I mean, it kind of is, but
So that probably bump up to 2.5 hours.
Because I've done that before too sometimes, and even sometimes it was to panels that I didn't even really care for. It was just that the panel room happened to be right next to the panel room I wanted to go to, so I was just like, I'll hang out in this panel room, and then once I see people start
lining. In the same panel room.
That's cheating.
That's cheating? Hey, they need to kick us out, so I took advantage of that.
That's genuinely cheating, man.
But hey, if I know the rule of the room, is that really cheating?
No, I guess it's the convention's fault for not clearing out the room before the next panel, so.
Then Then that basically, I know a lot of people said the lines were very bad, but from what I know, they had most of the people who said that were first year goers. So when you realize that it's not that bad, my first year were worse, to be honest.
I mean, like I said too, is that coming from someone that's been to all three of the main, like pretty much the three main anime conventions in California. I mean, lines don't bother me as much because there's lines at all of them. I mean, the first year, I kind of thought the same thing where it's like, oh my god, these lines are ridiculous. But then as I started going, because I mean that was back in 2011, I think, was the first year I started going to conventions. It was just like, oh my god, these lines are crazy. And then that was 5 years ago now. So I mean, at this point, you get used to it. Though I've heard that AX now you can get the premiere passes and then shorten your line by quite a bit just because you kind of get that like VIP line where only you get to go in.
Oh yeah, good time to bring that up because more people probably won't know the difference. There are two types of badges for Anime Expo. There's the Premier badge, which, last time I checked, costs about $350, which is, let's be honest, a little pretty high up there for, especially for people like us, the very working and be able to college students. But with that badge, you get to enter more panels before the people with normal passes. You had to show up, I think, 15 to 30 minutes before the panel start to guarantee yourself a spot. You get discount and you get to go to the exhibit hall early, and all early day one. And then if you're traveling, you get a chance to book a hotel before anyone else. That's basically the major pluses for the Premier badge.
And on top of that too, like when you go to buy your concert tickets, because just in case the listeners don't know, Anime Expo has quite a few like concerts and just like paid events. If you have the Premier Pass, you usually get to buy your tickets first, and a lot of the times there's going to be specific sections that are only available to the Premier Pass people. So I mean, it's quite a lot to spend though. 'Cause, I mean, you're going to spend $350 for the pass versus I think if you buy your pass at the a normal pass at the con, I think it's about $100 at AX. It was $100 I think this year. So I mean it's a huge difference, but there are a lot of perks. I mean, especially if you're really into the con life.
Oh yeah, and then thanks for reminding me. They do that the first shot at the ticket events. They also did one free ticket event as well. So that one thing I forgot to mention, and it was about $120 if you bought the normal badge on site this year. So pretty expensive.
So I have another question. And now that we brought up ticketed events, because like I said, I've been to all three, and AX is the only one that pretty much has ticketed events. Every once in a while, like Fanime will have like a third-party concert or something like that. Like I think it was in 2012, Fanime had this video game and anime orchestra that was there. I mean, they were part of the convention, but still like its own separate entity, and that was charged a paid event. But like I said, it wasn't actually like part of the con. They just chose that weekend because they knew it was the con, so they figured people would go. But it's like, how do you feel about actually having paid events like that, like concerts, and there's a couple panels and stuff I know you have to pay for?
I see the upside and downside of it. Like this year, there weren't any ticket events I really wanted to go to. The only one that I did was interested in was the jazz concert of Cowboy Bebop. But the timing of that I believe, was on a day I couldn't do it. It's another panel that I really want to go to at the same time. But last year I did the ticket events. I went to 3 last year. And honestly, I see the pro and con. It's expensive already, so you have to spend more. But at the same time, Anime Expo, so they try to go over the top. And when they get major people, they can't fund it themselves always. And last year they brought totally forgetting her name right now. The person who sing the opening of Neon Genesis.
Yeah, I can't think of the name, but you're talking about the Cruel Angel Thesis.
Yeah, who did that? She did a concert and a Q&A. So that was an event, and they brought in Momo Clover Z, the girl idol group who does the Cinnamon Crystal opening, the first season of it. So, then I'll see why. And then I know you mentioned event. The May Cafe at Anime Expo is a ticket event. So that's another thing that's a little different. And then I host storytelling from you or Ellen that the May Cafe at other conventions are different.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to buy a ticket. You still have to pay to get in, but it's more like you just walk up and then you pay and you go in there. It's not like you have to actually have a ticket or anything. You just go up and be like, hey, I want to go to the Maid Cafe. And I'm like, all right.
But yeah, it's expensive away. And then last year the ticket for the Ava event were about, for the bed seat, were about $45 each.
Yeah, cause I was noticing that too. Cause one of my really good
Yeah.
friends and my ex roommate goes to AX every year with the Premier Pass, and then he was telling me too about how expensive some of the tickets were, like $45. I think one of the events this year was like $100 and something for the ticket that he got, because he got one of the really expensive tickets to be. I think it was like in like a Premier standing zone or something like that. And you're really close to one of the bands.
Oh yeah, I forgot the name. They brought in like eight groups to perform at
Yeah,
once.
it was that one, that event.
Yeah, that had to be that event, and they did a concert style of it.
So one thing, another question, kind of to tie into this, that I had was, I mean, do you feel that they're charging for these events so that way they can have some of these acts? I mean, I know Anime does a good job about getting certain Japanese groups, but I mean, they don't get nowhere near the quantity that AX does. It seems like AX can just about get anyone, any Japanese group it wants to come here. So do you think that's why they're charging, or?
I think so. That why they charge so much, and another thing, when they book they book an artist or a group, they had to perform in downtown. The two places they could perform downtown without being in the convention center themselves will be the Microsoft Video, and then no whole club, a small club that is still in the LA Live area, and just went into place out are expensive by themselves because it's downtown LA. They don't charge you a lot that you went to place.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured what was the case. Cause I mean, because back then, because the Microsoft Theater was just Club Nokia, or the Nokia Center, right? They just changed name.
Yeah, it was the Nokia Theater. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I figured it was that. But I mean, I guess I can understand that, because that's one of the things that has kept me from going to LA.
It's expensive down here. But I think that's the main reason why they charge so much, and especially the group that organized Anime Expo, the Society of Promotion of Japanese Animation. And also a non-profit organization, so they basically had to, whatever they get is what they use, from what it seemed like.
Okay, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, another thing I had, a question I had about this year's AX. I mean, was there any how confusing was the guide? Confusing or anything like that? Because I noticed a lot of people online were complaining about one of the panel rooms not clearing out after certain events. But then my friend I went said that the guide specifically said. Do you think was there just something confusing about the guide, or were people just not reading?
I think a combination because I look at the guy every time when I pick up my badge on day 0, which is the day before the convention starts, to to map out what I want to do. I was looking at the guy and it looked okay. The mapping was a little weird at first, but after looking at it for like five minutes, I got an idea of it. But at the same time, I was using the app they created, so it was so much smoother to understand. So I didn't have no real problem finding any of the rooms. After I asked once, they showed me the lines for every room, so I had an idea. I said, okay, I got to where I want to go. And the one room they mentioned that you mentioned is LP1, also known as Live Programming 1. It's a room that will not be cleared out throughout the whole convention, only for ticket events and 18 plus events. That's the only time that will be cleared out. I got that information actually from staffers, people who volunteered. They told me, yeah, we don't clear this room out except for the events.
All right, so that I mean, because that was something that really weirded me out, was just that, I mean, most conventions that I can understand where the confusion comes from, because most conventions seem to clear out the panel rooms pretty much after every single event. Doesn't matter. I mean, I think I've only been in like 1 or 2 panels where they actually didn't clear out the room, but it's like almost every time they clear it out, no matter what. So I guess I could see where the confusion came from.
Uh-huh. So, for new timers, I understand if you're at first time going, it will be a little confusing. But I heard complaint about people who've been there multiple times who know the rules already and they still complain. So if you're one of those that don't really know issues, you should know how to do this by now. But if you're a new timer, first time going to a con or Anime Expo itself, it makes sense. So it is confusing the first time you go. It takes about a day or anywhere from a few hours to a day to get a whole understanding of it.
All right. On to another topic that I had another question when that was, how did you feel about overlapping events? Because I know I was talking to a couple people that I know went to AX, and they were telling me that some of the ticketed events overlapped. So, like, for example, my friend told me that when the concert where there was, I think it was where you said, like, where they had the 8 different bands, all the different bands together, there was
Yeah.
another event going on at the same time, and then my friend told me that the person sitting next to him actually went to that first event, and then came to the concert like halfway through it because they kind of overlapped. So I mean, were there a lot of them that overlapped, or was it just a couple? I mean, was it a situation where you were gonna have to pick and choose wisely which events you wanted to go to, or?
Overlapping right like that. It's actually only the second time I heard about that this year. The other one is the Fully Cooley panel, which you probably have a treasure on that more likely. Especially you probably heard the whole situation about that. But the Fully Cooley panel was after the production IG panel, which is the same company, and they overlapped together. They went along. They didn't stop at all. So if that count, that only one, then they conflict, right? There weren't too many conflicts. The only 2 panels that were overlapping was the Funimation one and the Toonami one. It was the only time I had 2 conflict in panels that I wanted to go to. And of course, I ended up choosing the Toonami one because I grew up with Toonami that right there want me to go.
Because who wouldn't pick Toonami? I mean, obviously you have to pick Toonami.
Yeah, I looked it up, took it off my list and then went straight to Toonami. Which were awesome. They gave us free t-shirts.
Yeah, I'm actually really sad that I didn't get to go to the Toonami panel. There was a couple panels and events going on. I know there was a Love Live event that I really wish I could have gone to, but
I hope that was paid. That was a ticket event from what I heard.
That was a ticketed event, and if it's the event that I'm remembering, it's the one where if you paid an extra, I think it was $10 for your ticket, you got a nice little wall scroll too.
Oh wow!
You got a wall scroll for quote unquote free. even though you pay $10 more for the ticket.
Yeah. The funny thing about this year is something else I haven't seen. They actually had a ticket event for premieres.
Wow, which event was that?
They had a ticket event for the One Punch Man, the premiere, the dub.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Then that's actually, especially because considering how popular that anime was
Right.
recently. So I mean that's a pretty
Oh,
big
yeah.
event.
Yeah, I was surprised when that was a ticket event and the Berserk premiere. They're doing another season, if I'm correct.
That's actually pretty cool. Then I mean, like I said, those are events that I wish I could have gone to. I wish I would have actually been able to go to AX this year to experience some of those.
Right.
So I mean, this year's convention, because there was a you've already described a couple of really cool events. I mean, what was your favorite event of this year?
This year, it really tough because, of course, the panel I already go to, the Sailor Moon panel, which I love, but I actually really enjoyed the Toonami panel. It brought back so many memories, and the first time they done the panel from I know of since Toonami had come back. So it was very fun. We got to see a couple stuff. They showed a little clip of One Punch Man, the dub version, which they don't be showing on Toonami later in a week now, if I'm correct. They also showed some behind the scenes of Samurai Jack, which is or a cartoon that I loved. And they did talk about a little about Furry Coolie, but they couldn't go into too much details. But the upside is that beside the Tom T-shirt, they were Furry Coolie prints, which were pretty awesome in my opinion.
It sounds like a '90s kid's dream.
It was a dream that came true.
Cody Cody and Samurai Jack. I mean that's a '90s kid's dream.
Oh yeah, especially it coming back. A lot also coming back for us us 90 kids, so we did enjoy it again. But besides that one, the one I probably enjoyed too, besides the Sailor Moon one, was probably the Monster Musume panel, which was actually really fun. I think you actually did live drawing, like sketching on the stream.
That's actually really really cool. So who did they have there doing it? Was it just one of the actual artists was just drawing it for?
So they had 5 people. They had the U.S. print publishing company. They also have the Bookwalker, which is a book store company that were there at Anime Expo hosting the whole Monster Musume panel. They had the creator himself who were drawing it. They also had the producer of the anime from Japan there as well. So yeah, it was fun. He got to draw a few. He actually gave them away too as well in a giveaway.
And I'm guessing you weren't fortunate enough to get any of them.
No, I tried. However, the way they did was they put cards under the seats, and if you had one, you get a drawing. Which is so sad. I wanted one, but okay. But he did do our draft section, and from what I know, it was very hard to get tickets for those.
I'm not too surprised by that though, because that happens at every convention. I mean, a lot of the times they either don't. Some of the guests don't want to take photos. I mean, it's understandable with how many people there are. So I can see that. But now you've actually made me want to make sure that I always check underneath the seat that I pick at an anime convention.
Yeah, I realized that if you have, I never thought of that. I should have checked the seats before I sat down. But the funny thing too, from what I know, they were only it was the Walker company who were giving out the our draft tickets. They were giving out only 25 a day.
Wow, that's so few.
Yeah, and from people I heard, I met someone who got one. A lot of industry people lined up before. Industry people that go into the exhibit hall before premiere and normal badge holders. So he told me, yeah, at one point, 18 industry people got theirs before even anyone got in.
That's pretty crazy. That would suck, but I mean, I guess
It
guess
was
it's
it
just
was sad, but let's be honest. If we had industry badge, I would do the same.
see, man. This is why we need to help. We need to get this show going because eventually that'll be us. So
Yeah,
so people
industry
listen.
badge
Yeah.
and abusing the power.
Yes. So people
I mean,
listening, if you want to help us abuse power, like and subscribe and comment, and we will get this done. And maybe we'll help you too.
that maybe.
All right, another question I had about this year's AX was how crowded was it considering how many people were there? I mean, was it easy to get around? Because I can't imagine, especially with all the people on cosplays and costumes and stuff, is some of them are pretty huge. So were you able just to get around easily?
It was kind of hard depending on what part of the convention center. Like the busy part, that you went the small hallway, it was a little crowded. The exhibit hall itself wasn't too bad until you were wider. And then I don't know if you have a treachery about this, but you probably heard about RS Alley.
Yeah, I heard it was in a different spot this year that kind of made it a little more difficult to reach.
A little more would be saying nicely. It wasn't hard to reach. It was hard to move when you get in. Like basically, when when you're in line and you slowly walking, to move the line to move up the line.
Yeah, that's what it was like.
It was like that for almost every aisle.
Yeah, that's
like
pretty
that.
bad. I mean, but especially because I'm the type of person that I spend most of my money at Artist Alley and not the dealer's hall. So I mean that would that would be such a big pain for me.
Yeah, that was an issue for me as well. That way I spend most of my money to in the Artist Alley. The idea of putting it in their own area was a great concept, but they executed it not very well. So they split that room into 3 parts: Artist Alley, the art draft area, and the tabletop play area.
Ow, that's kind of bad. That's a lot to share one location.
Yeah, and finally one of the smallest hall. And the one thing I don't get is they had the tabletop area away from the entertainment hall where all the other gaming activity is at.
So,
But
that's kind of interesting though that the way they would set it up in that way, because it just seems like that would just be such a pain for the con goers to have to deal with that setup.
oh yeah, and then it was very hot down there due to how many amount of bodies. So it did have air conditioning, but it one of the smaller halls with probably hundreds of people in it at once. So it was very heated. To the point I know some artists were actually getting heat rash because of it.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, that was the only major mistake that Anime Expo did this year. Even I admit of that. So I love the artists. I bought this year. I bought prints from the same artists that I bought last year, and it's hard to move, especially when a group of people decide to all stop at once. It wasn't fun trying to get around that.
That's pretty interesting. Then I mean, what? I mean, it's been kind of been like that at some of the other cons I've been at. I mean, the very first year I went to SAC Anime, they kind of had a very similar setup. It was that SAC Anime was still growing. I mean, it still is growing now, but before it made it to the Sacramento Convention Center, it started off well, I didn't start off, but the first time I went there, it was in a hotel. So, I mean, you know how hotels just have a few big ballrooms and stuff like that. So, there wasn't that much space. It was pretty much exactly how you described it in the dealer's hall and in Artist Alley at the first time I went to SAC Anime. But the rooms were probably about a quarter. I don't even have to see the room that you guys were in, but it was probably the room I was in was probably at least a quarter of the size of whatever you guys were in, because they were so small, and then that's exactly how it was. It was to the point where you could barely walk through the aisles. So I mean, I kind of understand that, and then Sacramento's in the summer is hot too. So I mean, it was all bad, especially people in cosplays and stuff like that. It was all bad, and we have these Predator cosplayers that come to the convention every single year. So I mean, and a Godzilla cosplayer. So you have those people like that walking through aisleways and take.
Oh, I understand the heat. It get hot over down here during the summer, and especially in the downtown area when there's not a lot of shade. So it did really hot, and it was very. Like, I know a lot of people couldn't even go through the whole Artist Alley because they were getting too dehydrated. It took me probably about 3 hours to go around it.
Wow,
at least once.
That's kind of scary.
Like, to actually look, I did that twice.
That's kind of scary, honestly. To take that long, that's so much time to kill.
Yeah, it takes a huge room, but at the same, it takes a lot of artists, but at the same time, trying to get through each one is really hard, squeezing into everyone. It like best way to put it, like a big running back trying to street through off a D line with no open gaps.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Then that's pretty scary. Speaking of scary things, it's one thing that I didn't try to do when I went to AX, because I'm not really familiar with the LA area. I mean, I've been to LA a couple times in my life, but it's not like I'm really familiar with the area. So I was kind of nervous about hanging out at night after the con, during the con and stuff like that, and being downtown LA. So I mean, did you participate in any of the nightlife things out there? Because I know there's a lot of like 18 plus anime, like just not like bars or parties and things like that. Did you participate in any of that, or did you hear anything about those or what they were like?
I didn't participate, but I got a couple of invitations, to a couple of parties, anime parties. But I'm not really a party guy, so it wasn't interested in me. But downtown LA is a little sketchy at night. I'm gonna be honest. But the LA live area is probably your safest bet for at night. For if you want to be downtown at night, because it's the party center. Like everyone go there during downtown, so there are a lot of heavy security around, so it's not that bad, especially at the convention center when they're being used. But yeah, I didn't participate in anything, and I know about some stories that they get crazy at parties, but usually they like to eat a lot of pizza, from what I was told.
That's pretty interesting. Well, because one of the things that weirded me out about AX was that it's not, as the con isn't open 24/7 like Fanime is. So yeah. So that was just one of the weird things. One of the things that weirded me out. I wasn't really sure what to do. Like I said, I'm not really comfortable enough with the downtown LA area, just the LA area in general. So I didn't know what to do. So that's why I was just curious. I mean, it's just for someone who may be their first time going to LA or anything like that. I mean,
When you mentioned the whole, yeah, it's not open 24/7. From what I know, from what I heard, because the LA ordinance, the convention center can be used 24/7. It open wise, but from what I saw this year, they had video rooms open throughout the night, but at a hotel, across the street.
okay, that's pretty cool then, because I mean, even though the like Fanime is open 24 hours, it's kind of like a similar thing where, I mean, it's not like there's panels or anything going on at night. It's just viewing rooms, like video rooms, and I know the game room is open. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing else to do. I was just curious though about AX because, like I said, it not being open the whole time was weird. But if it's because of a law, I mean, I guess that makes more sense to me now.
Yeah, so I always wanted that, and then I was talking to someone over there who volunteered one year, and that what they told me that the reason was that because LA Orient they kind of have the convention center like a major space be open 24/7, but they could expand it like they did with they used the Marriott across the street. It's like about a 3-minute walk, so it's not even that far. But yeah, they had video room open. The game room does close though. I think it closed at midnight or 1 a.m. So it wasn't too bad. But for myself, I'm not really a night person. Like party wise, I usually go home when the exhibit and the RSI hall closes, unless there's a panel I want to go to.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, for me, it's just kind of similar. I mean, I really wouldn't go to an anime party or any of the anime bars and stuff. It's just that I know that they happen because I always get flyers for them. And then when my friend that went this year showed me the flyer that he got and how he went to the bar, and they had like anime themed drinks and things like that. They just had stuff for people to do at night since the convention center, like I said, is closed. So just give them something to do.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's a good idea, and I'm gonna be honest. If I were a local and I didn't have to drive, I'd probably go to one of the bars. But I had to drive home, and I don't drink and drive. No one should. So that one reason why I don't participate as well.
Yes, viewers or listeners, remember that. Don't drink and drive, even at anime conventions. Because I've actually had friends that have played King's Cup and stuff like that, and our King's game like in Persona. So it can get. I know it can be fun, but just don't do it.
If we do, make sure you have a place to stay without driving.
Exactly. All right. Another thing that I was curious about this year's convention was how much for a typical person to go. How much do you think it would cost? Say someone, I mean, because how much do you think with ticket and food and stuff like that? Because I know there's a lot of listeners that may have only been to a small convention or haven't been to a convention at all. Is AX a really expensive con?
And what? Yeah, if you're a full-time goer, are you local or you coming and had to stay at a hotel?
All right.
The price range was completely different.
We'll just assume, consider it without the hotel because it doesn't matter what convention you go to. I mean, pretty much almost all of us are going to be paying for a hotel anyways. I mean, there are some lucky people that are locals, but I mean, for someone just yeah, exactly, who can do that. But we'll just say, assuming not counting the hotels, because pretty much most people are going to be paying for a hotel. So
okay, and if you stay at a hotel, I'm assuming you don't have to worry about driving or taking like a vehicle to pay.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, just consider like I said, that they're staying in a hotel or something. Then we're just counting ticket, food stops. I mean, how expensive are things like at Artist Alley and the Diller's Hall? I mean, just to give the listeners a general idea of what to expect.
Okay, the badge itself, it varies, like depending on when you buy it. Like, for example, if you have bought it at the con for next year, this year, you gotta pay $45 flat, from what I was told. But as of now, I believe it went up to $55, if I'm correct, and plus the $5 fee. So it'd be $60 right now. I think it will be $60 until, I believe, September, October. Then it go up $5. then Black Friday they have a deal. So if you want to wait, you probably could get a deal on Black Friday. Last year it was about $50, so not too bad. 55 after fees, and then of course the closer the convention get, pay more for the badge. So unfortunately for me, I didn't know if I was going out until very very short notice. So I had to pay $95 for my badge. So don't be like me, buy ahead if you could. But they say you have to plan this. So you probably spend $60 right now. So $60 that for your 4-day badge. Then food wise, it depending how much you eat a day. Like myself, when I go, I only eat it once if I'm really hungry. So I spend about $15 at most. So if you do $15 a meal, it'd be about another $60. If you eat 2 meals a day, probably be cheaper. It'd probably be $10 per meal. So you do two meals would be probably about $80. So that'd be $140 away. And artist wise, it varies. Like this year, I bought a print for low at $5, and the more expensive print I bought this year was $20. And of course, they all had a deal: buy two get a third one free. If you buy one for $15, you could buy a second one and it'd be only $20 instead, and all those type of deals. So, this year, if you don't buy if you don't very similar to what I spent, I took about $600, and I think I had a decent amount of fun.
All right, and of course, one thing that he didn't bring up that I'm sure some of you guys will probably want to do is
Did I forget something?
The paid ticketed event.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean,
that varies as well. The maid cafe themselves is $25 for the normal maid cafe, and you want to do the after dark cafe is $35. Ticket event ranges from anywhere from $25, and the more I ever spent was $50. So depending how many you want to go.
So basically what you're saying though is that, I mean, for the average person, it's gonna be hundreds of dollars that they're gonna need to have for this convention, right?
If you want to have some decent amount, I'd say probably anywhere between $500 to $800.
I mean that makes about sense. I mean, because considering the location of where it's at, I mean it's in downtown LA, so downtown LA is already expensive as it is, and it's such a huge con. So I mean, and they have, I mean, I love anime, but I will admit that AX gets some crazy guests. Like I'm shocked at some of the guests that they have. They get some really really good guests. I mean, for God's sake, they had the Miku concert, and so I could understand that in comparison. So just remember that, listeners. I mean, if you really are serious about going to Anime Expo, remember start saving up. It is an expensive convention. This depends on you, but I mean, as far as me, when I go to a typical anime convention, I like to buy a lot of things at Artist Alley, but I have friends that go that literally buy nothing and just go hang out, go to panels and stuff. So if you are strapped for cash, remember, you could still go to the convention. It's just, if you want to buy, you're going to be sad when you see all the awesome things that you can't buy. So just be prepared for that.
Or be fortunate enough get some awesome freebie like I did this year.
That too. A lot of panels will give out free things. I mean, or some of the booths, just even some of the vendors just have free things to hand out just to give advertisement and stuff. So I got some really cool like Crunchyroll posters and stuff before. So I mean, you can get.
Oh yeah, and that adds up to this year. If you don't buy ideally, I probably got like $80 of free stuff from panels.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome though. Because I mean, like I said, it always seems to happen. Like they always have stuff to give out just because they want to give advertisement out.
And then especially with like in the exhibit hall, like when I mentioned the giant Monster Musume bike, if you want it, you had to spend $50 at Senpai Film World.
That's pretty cool. Then I'd be $50 isn't too much to spend.
Not too much, but I got it for free, so even better.
That's cheating again.
How is that cheating? They gave it to me for free.
I don't know. You must have used your charm or something to get it.
What? I got it at the panel. Not my fault. But but ideally, the first year I went, I actually took only $200 of spending money, and it wasn't that bad still.
Yeah, that's about actually how much I took when I went. Was about $200. I mean, I was a little strapped for cash myself, and I was lucky enough that I was able to go. I was just lucky enough to be able to go. I mean, I didn't have that much money at all, and then I just managed to scrounge up $200 to spend, and then, I mean, I was able to buy food, and I came home with quite a few prints and stuff like that. So, I mean, other thing too for first-time con goers is that when you go into the dealer's hall, I mean, unless you know it's something that is going to sell out immediately, or you know that you're not going to be there for the last day, don't buy things right away, because a lot of the times the dealer's hall will give you great deals on the last day of the convention. So just remember that, because I was able to get a couple cool things on my first time going, just because I waited for the last day and things were like super cheap.
Oh, that is true. But it's very hard to do at Anime Expo. But if you know what booth you go to, you could get it done. Especially if you don't, from what I know, if you don't the last hour of the exhibit hall open, you could get great deals.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that at every con. I mean, there's certain you got to be quick about it on the last day. You have to know what you want. Like, don't think that you're going to be able, just because it's the last day, you're going to be able to walk around the entire dealer's hall and just look at everything. Just keep things on like a watch list or something to be like, I want that, and then just know which booth it is, and you may have some luck.
Oh, same thing with Artist Alley too sometimes.
Yeah, Artist Alley too sometimes will do that, because a lot of the times the booths at the exhibit hall and stuff, and some of the artists they don't want to take everything home with them, so they just want to get rid of some of the stuff. So you just remember that. So one other question that I had for you too was, were there any incidents with the cosplayers or anything like that? Because I've been noticing, because I didn't get to go to Fanime this year, but last year I remember there was a couple of issues, and last year at SAC Anime we had issues where the con actually had to put up the cosplay is not consent.
Oh, that.
Yeah, did you have any? Were there any issues or anything like that at AX this year? Or
from what I know, there were no issues, but they did have the signs. They did have the cosplay or not consent. But from what I heard, supposedly there was an Instagram account that was supposedly taking pictures of girl butts.
I'm not surprised, sadly. I mean,
yeah, I'm not surprised.
It sucks, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, someone pointed out the way he was doing it. It seemed like he was that lazy. Like he would just sit, like when you sit down in the side hall. Like, if you want to rest, you sit down inside the halls, against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did do that. It seemed like he was just taking random pictures when he got a shot.
Wow.
Yeah, that was someone pointed out when he posted the account. And the account got taken down in an hour.
That's good that they got taken down, though, because it's kind of annoying.
It got taken down, but it was pretty good. It was pretty fast.
So, overall, would you have said that this was a pretty good AX then, considering it didn't seem like there's too many bad things going on? And
it wasn't too bad. I know there are a lot of people who have their different opinions, but my experience, it was good. I got to meet couple of cosplayers I followed, so that was fun. I got to take pictures with them, which I still had to upload onto my Facebook account.
I just want to point out that just the way you said that, I mean, I get what you mean, Obviously.
Wait, how did I say it?
You're like, I got to meet some cosplayers that I follow.
Oh,
I understand. I understood what you meant, but it just sounded so funny hearing
um,
it.
I'll tell you. I know you mean, but Mitchell. There's something called Facebook and Twitter. I follow the pages. I'm a fan of what they
Okay.
do. I was fortunate enough to meet them and take picture with them. Let you know, audience, what I meant.
Okay. Okay. See, Aaron. This is why you should be here because you missed out.
Oh, yeah. When you have fun with that, but I know to me, cosplay. We both follow the page up, if I'm correct.
That we both follow the page of.
Yeah, Momoku.
Oh, you met Momo-kun?
Yeah, I met her and got to take a picture with her in her Yang cosplay.
Ah, you lucky.
Oh, Aaron will be pissed at us. Sorry, Aaron. You don't have to bleep that out.
Aaron, that word was not that bad, so it's okay. But that is pretty lucky of you, man. I am actually really jealous.
But I was fortunate enough to she posts what she was cosplaying as, and she said, "Try to find me." And on day one, she was cosplaying a Yang from Ruby. And I have the app to check the strategy, and I saw the Ruby cosplay gallery. I said, I wonder. I had a 2 hour gap until I had to get in line for my net panel. I said, hey, you just see, and then I just saw she stood out because she had a different blonde wig, so I was able to tell.
So because you were following her, you were able to find her at said point.
I was able to find her due to the fact she mentioned that she will be dressing up as a Ruby cat or the same day at the Ruby gathering. I'm not gonna let you make me misuse words again.
Okay.
And plus she mentioned it in one of the comments. Yeah, I will be at that gathering.
Oh.
That too.
I'm insanely jealous, but it's okay.
Yeah, it was nice. And then that more like be my post 5 picture. I'm not gonna lie. But it was fun, and she really good at taking selfies. She took it. But it was a good time though overall. I didn't have no real trouble. From my experience, it went well. Spend more than I wanted to, but that happens when I take that type of decent amount of money to con for once. But overall, I enjoy AX a lot. And then I know a lot of full-time goers are listening to this, have an idea, and let you know as well. If you're a college student, try to get your school to pay for your trip. It is possible.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of a little bit off topic, but we have gotten it done before at the college level. We have gotten colleges to pay for things like this. I mean, especially if you're like in an anime club or something like that. I mean, I would say try to contact whoever's in charge of distributing monies, because there are ways to get it done, and you can make it so that way you can get a free. It won't be. I mean, it'll be free, but there will be some requirements most likely. So I mean, yeah, if you're a college student right now and you really want to go to AX, just find your anime club and talk with them, and you may be able to get it done.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, we're talking about AX, and I'm going to admit, last year I did the Anime Expo for free. I got my school to pay for it. So if you really want to know how to contact our pages, which we will probably talk about, we will say later, and I'll probably help out with that.
Yeah, you have to listen to the end before we give you that information.
Yeah, we don't make you listen to everything. And make sure you actually enjoy what we do here for you guys and girls.
All right, so would you recommend? Okay, so let's get back to the topic then.
Yeah, sorry, I know Aaron don't
Yeah,
mad
so
at us,
let's get-
but I had to do
No,
it. We were talking about
get you.
AX.
But so one one of my last questions is, would you recommend this as a first con for someone that's never been to an anime convention before? Because we know, like you said, everything that you described about AX. I mean, it sounds really great. But would you recommend this as a first con for someone, or you think that they should go to one of the smaller conventions, like maybe SAC Anime or Fanime?
Well, that's really hard to. I'm gonna be a little biased here since my first convention was AX, and I've never been to another convention. So I don't know what size difference is until recently. I saw the top 10 most attended anime convention in North America, and I found out the gap between AX and set and plate is 60,000. So there don't be a lot of people if you decide to go to AX your full time. Do I recommend it? If you're in the area and it's probably easier than the other local cons, I would say yes. So don't be a little crazy, but you don't have a lot of fun, or a lot going on, and pretty much you don't have a great time, in my opinion. I did when I got to go in, especially if it's something you really love right now. Like when I went the first time, Sailor Moon came back, and they did a whole Sailor Moon day, so I took advantage of that. Not that I know, I kept going every year.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't go to AX as my first con. My first con was Fanime, and that was pretty decent size. I think that particular year, it was about 20,000 people were at Fanime. So I mean, that's a big drop off from what AX has. But I mean, but I mean, I was fine when I went to AX. I mean, it wasn't like it was too crazy or anything for me. I mean, one of my friends, like I said, my ex-roommate, actually his first con was AX as well. That was his first con. And he's been going every single year since, I think, 2011 now. So, I mean, I think it can be done. And I kind of agree with what you said, though, about, I mean, if there are cons around you, other cons around you, it might be beneficial to go to those before you make a trip out to LA to do this. But I mean, if you're in the LA area, you go big or go home. just go.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I found there are like 3 other cons over here throughout the year that are way smaller. So there are no option as well, especially where I'm at. They're about the same distance for me at least.
What are the other ones? Was it ALA and
well, I think Anime California or California Anime.
Okay, yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, that in Ontario, if I'm correct. In northeast from Los Angeles, to let people know.
All right, so my final question for you today: what rating would you have given this AX? Like, out of a 10, what would you say this AX was?
Out of 10?
And was there anything you thought that they did really well this year, or anything you thought that they could improve on to help?
Overall, I probably would give it an 8. I'm very lenient, to be honest. I did 7 8 a lot, but if you want anything higher, you don't really have to work for it. 8, to do a lot I love about it. I thought this year I went to about 15 panels, and that's the most I've ever been in a single year. And overall, it was great. Thing they had to fix all Sally made the aisles wider. Did it own hall. Let's be honest, they did it own hall. Did it the smaller hall by itself would probably be great. They moved the tabletop area to entertainment, and probably put the art drive area in a room. You don't use it all the time, so it'd probably be easier to set it up like that, if possible. And then what they did best, I had to talk to a lot of people who volunteer, and they were all very helpful when I asked. Found out one of my friends was volunteering, so that was cool. The way they did the lines were interesting this year, but it was easier from the last couple of years when you get an idea. And the panels are probably the best this year overall, in my opinion.
That's good to know then, because I'm gonna try my best to go next year. I mean, this year I spent a little bit too much money right before the convention, so I couldn't I couldn't go. But next year I'm gonna try my best to make sure that I make it out there. So I'll make sure to
Okay.
join you if you're there. Hopefully you are.
And hopefully we could get Aaron to come with us.
Exactly. At the next year we're gonna be prepared with shirts and everything, and we're gonna record the whole thing.
Hey, we could do a live recording.
That is the ultimate goal for next year. Actually, I've already I mentioned it to Aaron before, that I think that would be really awesome. If we get a nice camera, and get shirts with our YouTube channel on it, and our Twitter names on the back or something, and go around interviewing people and having fun at the convention. So AX, look out, viewers, listeners. Just be on the lookout for us at Anime Expo 2017. You will see us there, recording stuff, and say hi.
Yeah, hopefully we could get industry badges by then.
I know, right? And,
That'd be very helpful.
that would be very.
We could get away with
I told
stuff.
Aaron too that I kind of wanted to test this out at SAC Anime. So if you are listening, I know Summer SAC Anime is coming up in a couple months, so you may see us, or at least me and Aaron, running around, talking to you guys and having fun.
Aren't there two of them?
The way SAC Anime works is they have one in the summer, which is usually at the end of August, or beginning of September, and then you have one in winter, which is usually like the first or second weekend of January, usually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really weird how they do it, but I mean, I kind of like having two cons, because I mean it's a really small con, so it's kind of cool just having like a con in between each con.
Can we do that? Can we have an Anime Expo summer and Anime Expo winter?
No, no.
Why?
You know how hard it would be to organize 2 anime expos. Do you want to be there in the rain?
Yes.
Where's Aaron at
But
when I need him for his smart remarks?
so yeah, I know I could get away with these for the episode. So yeah, I want to see what you done where you let her know that I could get away with stuff. But
Do you have any?
but overall,
Alright.
it was fun.
I was gonna say, did you have any final remarks you wanted to say about AX before we head out?
Happy Toonami actually really coming back with especially having a panel, but a lot of prints that I had to actually put up, and got a T-shirt anime T-shirt that I could actually wear now, which is pretty awesome, and it was great overall. I can't wait to go again. Hopefully next year I save more money, which might be a bad thing, but I'm looking forward to it. It was great though.
That's good to know then. I mean, I think that's going to be it for today, guys. I'm really glad that you guys are listening. And I hope this was insightful for you about what AX is like, what to expect. And I tried to ask all the questions I could think of what a con goer would like to know. So hit us up on our social media sites. My Twitter is twitter.juicer5024. Justin's is...
You mean Jacob?
Yeah, sorry.
No, but my just like robot.
We have at Yelling will ensue, but there is no I. When I say no I mean there's no I after the 2 L's. So just know that. It didn't fit, but it's okay.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, sorry. And then there's at Nerds Know Sports and at Let's Argue Anime.
Which is what we're recording right now.
Yeah.
Our latest episode.
Yep.
Yeah, and what Aaron Tiger then? We probably should plug him in.
If you, listeners, just know this, that we have a host who isn't here today, so I feel like you guys should spam his social media sites, and it's AA Landline.
Yes. And if you want to spam him, tell him Duke is better than UNC. To tell him
Yeah,
that. That way he loved
Yeah,
to go.
just let him know how much better Duke is than the University of North Carolina, and he will love you forever. Just spam, spam,
Yeah.
spam.
So I think that's it from us
Yep.
for today.
That is it for today.
Yeah. So I want to thank you all for listening and hope you enjoy it. I hope it helps, and looking forward for you guys to listen to our other episode we have up and our future episodes.
All right, thank you guys.
All right. Bye.